So I'm going to speak English. Hope that's okay. Yes, so I'm from the UK originally. I live in Sweden. I have a YouTube channel. I've written a couple of books. I'm on social media. Do send me an email, that kind of thing. But hopefully this talk will introduce more about what I actually do. So I want to start from the perspective that what we're doing is software development, and this is in a very complex situation. The world is complex, and software is at the heart of many businesses today. And what we're trying to achieve is actually really quite difficult. And then you add to that the context that I'm normally working in is large organizations, where you've got this added complexity of trying to coordinate the efforts of diverse teams all working on the same product or related products. And we need to have some kind of consistency of approach and an ability to adapt to the complex world that we are producing software in. What we're doing is software engineering. And I like this book by Dave Farley that describes what is software engineering. And his entire thesis is basically that there are two big things that we need to be good at to succeed with software development in the modern world: managing complexity and optimize for learning. So it's the truth that in a very complex system, you can't predict what's going to happen. You have to do something and then measure what happens and then react. So these things together make it more likely you're able to be successful, basically. And optimizing for learning is all about how frequently can we get software out there and how quickly can we learn from what happens to the world when we put the software in it. And then managing complexity is how do we organize ourselves so that we can keep doing this for the long term. So when it comes to managing complexity in software, Dave Farley identifies these, I would call them laws of physics of software design. We need modularity, we need cohesion, we need separation of concerns, we need abstractions, we need loose coupling. And none of these ideas are actually new. None of these were invented by Dave Farley. This has been known for forever in software development, that we need good design in order to make our software flexible and able to handle the new demands that we're going to be placing on it. So this is the situation that we find ourselves in, or at least I find myself in when I'm working with software development teams. One big thing that has happened in the past couple of years, though, is that now everybody has got a Gen AI coding assistant. It feels like this is on every developer's environment now. They've got these things, and there are adverts everywhere telling you that how much faster you're going to go because you've got these assistants. So this code 55% faster claim is from a study of 95 professional JavaScript developers, and they timed how long it took them to write an HTTP server in JavaScript. And the ones that had the Gen AI assistant were like less than half the time of the others. It took them, just over an hour rather than nearly 3 hours. And this, I don't dispute that the findings of this study. This seems legit. These assistants can help you write an HTTP server in JavaScript faster. That's not really the kind of problem that I'm facing most of the time. When I'm working in a large organization, I'm facing a hugely complex system with a lot of code. There is a lot of existing design decisions being made, and some of those design decisions may have made sense at the time when they were made, but looking at them today, you're like, yeah, this is cruft. This is getting in the way of me actually making progress. I can't just build new code. I have to build new code that works with the existing code. And this is a problem that AI assistants maybe aren't as so great at. So there's another number here, 37%. That is the percentage of the time that these assistants refactor correctly. So that's in another study. This is Adam Turnhill and his colleagues. 100,000 code samples given to these assistants. Say they've all got a code smell in, fix the code smell, and in 2/3 of cases, they make the code worse or they introduce bugs. If your developers were that bad at refactoring, they wouldn't stay employed very long. So these AI tools have got a great deal of potential perhaps for new code, but that is really not what we're doing most of the time. Software, I think, is built by teams, and we need to be looking at ways to manage complexity by helping those teams. Because a group of individuals aligned against a common goal who understand the problem they're trying to solve can solve a much more complex problem than a bunch of individuals or a coding assistant. So this is where I think we need to be perhaps putting more energy into improving the skills and the possibilities for teams. And I think this software design that we're looking at, we want to have modularity, cohesion, separation of concerns, and all of those things that Dave Farley said. And these are design decisions that teams need to make collaboratively, and they need to be skilled at doing these things. Dave Farley, in his book, points out one of the key enablers of this kind of design. He says, test-driven development is essential as a cornerstone for an engineering approach to software development. I don't know of any other practice that is as effective at encouraging and amplifying our ability to create good design. And I agree with him totally. I think he puts this very well. Test-driven development puts testing and testability at the heart of software development, and it enables you to write that code that has got all those beneficial design characteristics. But it's not very common in the world today. I don't know if you're using TDD or if you know people who are using TDD. It is not widespread, despite this having been around for like 20 years or more. I mean, the thing is, I don't want to put you off if you're thinking, yeah, but I can produce a good design and I'm not doing TDD. TDD, you can describe it as this very narrow thing of you drive the design from the tests with small unit tests and all of that. But you could also just view TDD a little bit more broadly than that and see it as this is actually all the skills that you're using when you're evolving a code design to manage complexity and keep control of technical debt. And that is a broader skill set than pure TDD, and I think there's more people doing this. But maybe just working with having some unit tests and being able to refactor effectively is not quite the same as TDD in the very narrow definition. But I think that's what we're after, actually. We want developers, engineers who can evolve a design safely and keep a software system able to support the complexity of the modern world in the long run. That's a long way of saying that. We need technical excellence. We need software developers who are using these effective engineering practices and continually improving the code, increasing the code quality, so it gets better than it has been, and removing that cruft that gets in the way, those old design decisions that no longer serve us. And this is about technical excellence, and this is about leadership, and this is about skill. So in this large organization with many teams, you usually have technical leadership. You have architects, staff engineers, and they are doing very valuable work. But often their focus is taken on questions that aren't really to do with code quality. They're looking at system performance constraints, large-scale structural decomposition. They're looking at technology choices. Those are important things for architects to be doing. But really, I think there needs to be more leadership at the level of code quality, low-level design, engineering practices, refactoring, test-driven development. And usually, architects just don't get involved in that. So I'm kind of seeing that this should be something that they are responsible for, though. And I'm describing this as technical coaching. That's how I describe myself and what I do. I do technical coaching. It's a form of technical leadership that is really concerned with the design at the lowest level. So I work with development teams, usually more than one, part-time, and I'm teaching coding skills, engineering skills, building up the culture of making the right kind of decisions and valuing good code that is flexible and can handle complexity. I say this and people think, oh, you mean you do team building? And they think I mean stuff like this, building a tower out of spaghetti and marshmallows. Oh, have you done this? I find it absolutely excruciating. I'm an engineer. I'm working with an engineering team of highly skilled software developers. Why am I playing with spaghetti? That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is getting engineering practices better. We have to actually work with code and do something a bit more closer to the real work that they're doing. So when I'm technical coaching, there are two main things that I'm concerned to do. There is learning hours and ensemble. Let me just explain a little bit what I mean. So a learning hour, this is a training session where we are working on code, but it's interactive and it's trying to use the best available training approaches and brain science to make it engaging and make developers want to learn these skills of TDD and refactoring. So we're doing fun little exercises, fun but real in some sense. At least some aspect of these is helping us to learn real world skills. These are some of my favorite code katas, FizzBuzz and Mars Rover and Vending Machine. And these descriptions are from the Salman Coaching website. So in a learning hour, we are trying to learn real engineering skills by doing that in such a way that makes learning fun and accessible, short and often rather than long and boring, and trying to make this something that's part of our normal work as a development team, that we spend some time improving our skills and learning stuff. This on its own is not enough, though. We have to be able to use these skills in the production code. And this is where the ensemble comes in. Ensemble is another word for mob programming or software teaming. I prefer to call it ensemble. It sounds much more inviting. But basically, we get the whole team together and we are going to collaborate and write code in the production code. And we're going to try and do this collaborative design and agree, build up a culture of what good code looks like and what kinds of design decisions we want to make as a team. And as a coach, I'm there to try and facilitate that, and also to try and step in when I have got knowledge and experience that would help them in the situation they're in, mentoring. And we're trying to build up this culture of writing high quality code and doing that collaboratively. So my job is to mentor and encourage. And when you get this working well, it takes a while. You've got to learn the skill of communicating this way. But when you get there, you get this fantastic forum for communicating about code and learning, embedding new skills and new ways of working in a team. And I find that this is the best way I know to get teams using things like test-driven development. It's the best thing I found that actually works. So I wrote a book about it. The Salman method is what I'm calling this, so you can Google it and you know what it means. But it's my best guess as to what technical coaching looks like when it really works. And I also have a group of us. It's not just me using this method. There's a group of us who formed a society. It's a not-for-profit organization, and we own this website together. And you can find a lot more resources there for if you want to do some technical coaching. So as I said, I see technical coaching as part of the technical leadership in an organization. It may be a member of the architecture team or a part-time role of somebody in the architecture team. And the way I've been doing it then is kind of going around team by team, working with them intensively for a while. But in a large organization, I'm finding that this isn't enough. The teams that I work with benefit, but there's so much else going on and so many other teams in the same code base that actually I think we need more. So a couple of years ago, I was thinking about what to do about this and realized that, well, I need to probably recruit people who are in the development teams full-time to start doing a little bit of technical coaching part-time as part of their role. I mean, I think maybe I need to recruit team learning facilitators. That's what I'm calling it at the moment. They're basically kind of assistant coaches in some way. And there's usually, in most teams, there's somebody who is extra bit enthusiastic about TDD or refactoring or code quality and have some coaching tendencies. And those are the people I want to kind of, pick up and support. So what I came up with was the idea that they should be leading these team learning sessions based on the same idea as a learning hour that I've been doing as a technical coach, where hosted by a team member, but there's still this focus on building up the team, the engineering skills, and working on fun problems, making it interactive, making it part of the work of the team. That, perhaps every sprint we do one of these, or every week. So naturally, we're looking to find these senior developers or the tech lead who actually, as a senior developer, mentoring is already part of the job, but trying to give them something to actually do, because usually in large organizations, if you're a senior developer, there's no time allocated for mentoring. There's no support available about how to do that. A lot of senior developers would like to help the developers around them to grow and skill up those junior developers, but they don't know how to do it. So my idea was not only to kind of try and recruit these people to do these learning hours, was to make it easy enough that they could do it with very little time and not much support. So I had this idea that I could make videos. And, I've made a few videos before, so I thought, well, let's see if this works. I'll make some videos and put them on YouTube, and I'll try them out with my customer and see how things work out. So I've been doing this for a year or so, and there's quite a lot of videos out there that you can go and watch. And of course, this is YouTube. You don't pay with money, you pay with adverts. So if you don't mind the adverts, this is free. You can go and get this and see what I've got. And it's not just the videos, actually. To lead one of these sessions, you need as well a coding exercise, a code kata. And a lot of those are on my GitHub. And you also, it helps, I found, to have an online activity board like Miro, which structures the session and helps to keep everyone focused. And you can make your own, or you can get them off me. So the basic idea is, as I mentioned, these tech lead becomes a session facilitator, a team learning facilitator. They watch the video in advance, so they're prepared, they know what the exercise is about. They perhaps try it out for themselves on a bit of code. And so that when they come to the session, they can host the meeting, the whole team is gathered, they can lead the discussions and the coding activities, and in some sense adapt the video materials for the situation that the team is in. Because as a trainer, I know how important it is to try and get it to be relevant to where the people are. And that's the job then of this team learning facilitator. So if you're interested in this idea, if you'd like to try some technical coaching, you can go on, get the stuff and try it out. And I'd love to hear from you about how it goes if you do that. So I've been trying this, as I said, with one of my customers, and we've had a pilot program. They've got this internal portal where you can, get the videos and all the materials, and the feedback I'm getting from the developers who've led these sessions is that the teams have appreciated it. They found it wasn't too much difficult preparation, and it's something they would like to continue with. So even in a large corporation full of kind of, mix of different abilities and kinds of developers, there are people who are able to do this and appreciating it. So I encourage you to give it a try. Now, I say that, and then I realize that I have to kind of put this caveat, because these team learning sessions are all on code katas. And code katas are great for learning a new skill and in somewhat realistic situation. But the other part of the technical coaching I do is almost more important. This is the ensemble where we work in the production code. We work with real problems, and we discover that the code kata was all very nice, and we can do it in the code kata, but real life is more complicated. When people get going with these skills and try and do TDD in the production code, it's a bit like this. It's a bit like, well, we did the code kata. That was fun. We could go really fast. But the production code, unfortunately, is a little bit more complex and a little bit more challenging. And actually, maybe I'll just go really slowly and do what I was doing before. So the basic idea is I'm trying to bring you to the point that it's not enough just to do code katas. Team learning sessions with code katas is a great start, but I think we need ensemble as well. So I thought, well, these people that I've recruited to lead these team learning sessions, they could also lead ensemble with their team. And then they could, maybe if they pool their expertise and with the whole team together, they might be able to be successful with TDD in their production code and using these engineering practices. So I went to these people who had done these sessions and said, come and learn ensemble and learn to do this. And I don't know if quite what happened, but basically nobody signed up. They weren't having this, and I think it's to do with the large corporation mindset, the culture of not sticking out and not trying this weird thing where you're all coding together, and I don't know, concerns that it's not productive. So I've got basically to go back and try and sell this better and explain what this is for and why this is worth trying. So I can't share any success stories yet about that, but I do think that that's going to be needed. So anyway, just to summarize what I've been saying, the situation that most people are working in large organizations is complex, and the code that you're working with is crufty. And engineering practices like TDD, I think, is what we need to manage this complexity and achieve the quality of code we need in order to continually be delivering new software. I think we need to harness the enthusiasm of our tech leads to do some tech coaching. I'm trying to experiment with ways of doing that, and my best guess so far is that video-supported learning hours is a piece of the puzzle, and I think ensemble is another piece that needs to be there, but I haven't quite got there yet. So that's my talk about software excellence through technical coaching. Every software development team needs this, I think. Thank you.